Hey guys, welcome to this second video in my Women's Hockey Hack visualization project. And in this one, we want to talk about, or we want to build a game report visualization. But the first thing we need to do is we need to go to my website, hockey-statistics.com. And in here, you can find an article, should be the very first one, about the Women's Hockey Hack visualization project. So this is what we want to build today. Okay, so if you click on this article, you can find, first of all, you can find the first video tutorial down here. And if you haven't watched that one, I do recommend watching that one first. But other than that, you can read about the visualizations and go from there. But for now, we'll just try and open the visualization that we're trying to build today. So we want to build something that looks a lot like this. So it's a game report. So you select the date, select the game, and then it shows stats from that date, that game. So we could go here, we could select another date. And then you could see this game does not exist on that date. So we could just select another game. And it would show the game report for that game. So this is what we're aiming for. We want to have a shot plot. We want to have a graph that shows, this one shows the possession time in the offensive zone for one team versus the other team. But it could show XG values instead. And then we have a lot of team statistics. And I've even created a tooltip helper so you can hover over it and it will show what it is. So this is goals for percentage. Which is goals for divided by goals for plus goals against. So basically, it's just the percentage of goals in relation to the total amount of goals. And there's a slicer where you can choose string state. So if we click on this one, it shows data for all string states, all strings. And this slicer affects the entire page except for the graph down here. That's always all strings. But we'll get back to that. Now the shot plot, you can elect to look only at the goals, and then this will affect only the shot plot. So now all the goals are plotted, but all the rest of the data is still the same. So this slicer only affects the shot plot. Okay. So basically, this is what we want to build today. I may have to put this into 2 videos because getting from scratch to this is requires a fair amount of work. But now you have an idea of what we're trying to build. So let's just get started. So the first thing you want to do is want to look at the data set. So I have the Excel file opened, and this is what it looks like. This is the data that we are going to import into the Power BI project. Okay, so since the last video, I've added a few columns. I've added a table as well. So we'll just go through it really quickly. So I've added a column. This is just the game time, but in minutes instead of seconds. Then I've added a column where you can calculate the time of each event. I've added where the event happens in the neutral zone, defensive zone, offensive zone. And then I've calculated a possession time, which is basically just the time of the event. But if no team is in possession of the puck, then it's 0. And then I did the same for the offensive zone possession time. Now, these two are just calculated because I'm using those to calculate these down here. But we'll get to that later on. Then you have all of these columns here. No need to misinterpret the names. It just means cumulative passes. So this column just calculates the total amount of passes made in that game by that team. So you can see here the first pass is at this event, and then this team has 1 pass, the other team still has 0 passes. Then the next pass event is down here, and then now one team has 2 passes in total, cumulative. The other team still has 0 passes. Then the third pass is down here, and that's to the second team. So now one team has 1 pass cumulatively, and the other has 2 passes cumulatively. So that's what these columns calculate. And we're using that for the, again, I'll just show it right here. We're using that for the graph down here. That's used to calculate the cumulative values are used for these graphs down here. Okay. So then we also have an adjusted x and y values. This is because all shots are defined as being to the right. So they are defined as having a positive x value. Meaning if we just use the original x and y coordinates, all shots would be on this side. But because we're having a game report here, we want to have the away team shots to the left and the home team shots to the right. So in order to do that, we need to adjust the x and y coordinates, which is what we're just doing here. So it just says if the event is by the home team, then we multiply by 1. If the event is not by the home team, meaning it's by the away team, then we multiply by -1. So that's just how we mirror image the coordinates. Okay. I also added a game ID. I don't know why there's a bracket there, but it's just a game ID so that every game has a unique ID. Just count from 1 to 40. And finally, I changed the game name because in the original data, the game name is just alphabetically ordered, but we want the away team to be to the left and the home team to be to the right. So that's all I changed here. Okay, so that's what the data looks like. I also created a game data table. So this one consists of the date, the game name, the new game name, the game ID, the home team, the away team, and then I've done some calculations here as well. Not that I'm using these for anything in the visualization, at least not directly, but I'm just calculating the possession time in the offensive zone, neutral zone, and defensive zone. And all I'm using it for is to calculate the average possession time in each zone for a team. So you can see here in the offensive zone, a team on average possesses the puck 10.04 minutes. In the neutral zone, it's 5.26. And in the defensive zone, it's 12.91 minutes. So this is something that we're going to use later on when we are color coding the metrics, but I'm not using this information for anything really in the visualization other than calculating the average values. So also you can see here that the total amount of possession time only adds up to 56.4 minutes, meaning there are maybe around 4 minutes per game where no team is possessing the puck. So it's just something that's worth keeping in mind. But other than that, we don't want to talk about the data set anymore. So we'll just shut down this one. And then we can load the data into the Power BI project. Okay, so I already opened this Power BI project, and this is where we ended up in the first video. So this is the first visualization. This is the shot plotting part. Now we want to do the game report part. So we'll just start off by creating a new visualization, and we could call this game report. Okay, so now we need to add the new data. So we'll just say get data, and we'll just take it from an Excel workbook. And I think I put it on the desktop. Yeah, Women's Hockey Hack. Okay, so we already have the shot data, we have the players data, we have the teams data. So what we need, the past data we are not using. So what we need is the event data and the game data. And then we'll just click on transform data. I even think we may have to refresh things here. Okay, so let's just go over it really quickly. And because there are some mistakes here, something that we need to change. So first of all, these coordinates in the shot data table needs to be a decimal number. Otherwise things won't work. I can change it in Power BI directly, but it's just easier to do it now that we're loading the data. In the player table, this is fine. This is fine. Don't know what that said. Again, you go to the last columns. I'm sure there are some mistakes down there. Looks right, looks correct. Okay, no problems there. And the game data should also look correctly, I think, yeah. Okay, so that's fine. Then we can load the data. And it will take just a few seconds or minutes maybe, because the event data table is relatively large. So we'll just wait here. I think it's 40 megabytes or something like that. Yeah, so that's it. So now the data is loaded to the Power BI project, and we can go to the model view. You can see how things are connected. We'll get to that in just a minute. So let's just get started with the visualization. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add a slicer where you can select the date. So we'll just select slicer. And we need to select the date. I want to select the date from the game data. So we'll just select the date here. And we want the slicer to be a drop-down list. And we want to be able to select only one date. So now we have the date slicer like that. And the next thing we want to do is we want to select the game. So we want to create another slicer that selects the game. Now the problem is if we select the game here, the game 2, then the game will filter the dates so that once you've selected a game, then you can't choose between all dates, which is a problem. So we want to select want to have the game slicer from another table. You could take that from the event data table. So we'll take the game 2 here. And then again, we want this to be a drop down. Drop down, only select one game. Just like that. We'll work on the design later. Yeah. Okay. So now if we select the game, you should be able to select all dates here. And the reason that is because the event data and the game data is related based on the game ID, but the relationship only goes one way. So if this arrow was going both ways, then the game selection would also filter the date selection, which is not what we want. So this is just important to understand that the relationship in this case goes only one way, which is why it's important to select the date from the game data table and the game name from the event data table. Okay. So now we have the slices in place. Those are correct. Then we want to add images of the away team and the home team. And I'm putting the away team to the left and the home team to the right. So we'll just use this custom visualization that we implemented on the first video. Just add the image like this. Really simple. And then we'll just go to the team and input the image URL. Now, in this case, it shows, okay, shows Adidas. That's perhaps a bit weird. So we need to work on the, so we have event data, which is connected to shot data. That's fine. It has to be connected to team data as well. And is it not? That should be right? Ah, this one only goes one direction. It has to go both directions. Apply changes. So now it should work. Now it shows Scotiabank. Okay. But if we copy this, no, that doesn't matter. We'll just put in a new one. And again, put in the image URL. You see problems here. So what we need to do is we need to add a filter and that filter is whether or not it's a home game. So here we'll just go to basic filtering, and to the left is the away team, so we'll just filter it like that. And then over here we do the same, go to is home game, add the filter, go to basic filtering, and only select the home team. So now you have the home team to the right, the away team to the left. And if we change the game, it should also change the images. Yep. So the important thing to understand here is the relationships. And this one had to be both ways because I'm starting off by picking the date from here, and then it goes all the way to the team. So there has to be an arrow going that direction all the way. Okay. So now we have all the images and we have all the slices in place. So now we'll just, if we go to the visualization, we can see we have a value of expected goals for and goals for both teams. So we'll just put in that. That's really easy to do. We just add a card, make it a little bit smaller, and then we'll just add the so we could just add the expected goals value here, and then it sums all of it. Don't want this name, we'll just call it expected goals 4. And then we'll just make it a little bit smaller, maybe something like this. I'll work on the design later. Category label, that's fine, that's fine. However, this is the total expected goals value for both teams. So we want to filter it just like we did before. So we want to just put this filter here. Is it a home game? And we only want to add up away game values. We'll just copy this one, move it here, change the value here to goal instead. Change the name to goals for. I think I called it goals in the. So that's it. Now we can do the same thing, just copy it, move it over here, and then instead of is home game equal to 0, then we'll just make it to 1, like that. Do the same here, copy this one, put it here, and change the filtering so that it's only the home team. So now we have the upper part of the visualization in place. Now we get to the fun part. So the first thing we want to add is the shot plot. So we already did something similar in the first video. So we'll just add a scatter plot. Could look something like this. Maybe it's a bit smaller. We'll change it eventually. Okay, so what we want to plot on this one is we want to plot the adjusted values here, because then we have the home team to the right and the away team to the left. And then now we're just summing all of the x values and summing all of the y values, which is why there's only one plot here. That's not what we're interested in. We're interested in summing them. Oh, actually, I don't want to take it from here. Forget that. We want to take it from the shot data table. But it's the same process. Expected x adjusted, y adjusted. And then we want to, instead of sum all of them, then we want to sum based on the event number. So now it plots all of the shots, but they are all the same coloring. So we want to add a legend that is the team name. So now you have Harvey's over here, you have Adidas over here, and that's actually the shot plotting part. So now we just need to do something about the naming. Just call it x values, call it y values, say team, say event number, and that's it. Then we can go to the visualization part, change the x value. It has to go from -100 to +100. We don't want a title. We don't want the x-axis. Then we do the same to the y-axis. Change it from -42.5 to +42.5. And remove the title. And that's it. Okay, no need to have this title. It's a stupid title anyway, so we'll just remove that. And just from in order to have more space, I think I removed there's no legend there. So we'll just remove the legend as well. Okay, so now we need to change the background. So we put it on a ring. We'll just select an image, pictures, Twitter. And I think this is the one I'm using. And it's not fitted, so we'll just say fit. And as you can see here, the non-ring part is made gray. That's because we want to have a gray background eventually. So this is the shot plot part. The reason I took the x and y values from the shot data table is because I want to be able to filter the shot data, the shot plot, without filtering all of the other data in the visualization. So now when we add a slicer here, and filter it by shot event. So now when we hit block, it filters the entire page, as you can see. We don't want that. So why is that happening? That's happening because this is going in both directions. So we only want this to go in one direction. Oh. And we can't do that because it's a one-to-one relationship. So what happens if we do this? It can't do that. Is this possible? Okay. Let's just look at it now. Say what happens if we say single. Apply changes. Okay, so now it goes in that direction. That's correct. So we can do it like this. I just have to really understand what happened here. So now if we hit the block, it only shows the blocks here, but it doesn't change all the other data. So this one, just want to change the slicer settings to a tile one. Just remove the header. Make it look like this. So now you can select goals and it will show only the goals. Shots will show only all the shots on that. So that part is working just fine now. Now the next part is a bit more complicated because now we want to add the graph at the bottom. So we want to add this graph. Actually, we want to add 4 graphs here. So let's just start with the XG one. So if we go here, what we're drawing is a line chart. And it's right behind my video. So what we want to do is we want to add a line chart here. And that's it. So what are we interested in drawing on the line chart? We are interested in drawing let's go to the event data table. So we want to draw the timestamp, but in minutes. And what was that called? It was called time minutes. That's the x-axis. And then we want to draw the cumulative xg on the y-axis. And now you can see this doesn't look correct. That's because there are a lot of timestamps on the x-axis where you have multiple xg, where you have multiple events. So in that case, it will multiply the xg of all of those events because it says sum here. So what we're interested in is actually the maximum value of the xg value in that timestamp. Now it still looks weird, but that's because you have 2 teams. So we just need to add a legend with the team name. And now it should be 2 lines, just like that. Okay, so that's actually all we need to do. So now we'll just change a bit of the namings here. Just call this time or game time. Call this one team. And then we'll just do a bit of design things. X-axis, Y-axis, that's fine. Legend, I prefer to have it bottom center, like that. And we'll just remove the title, just like that. And that's the first graph. Now, in the visualization, you're able to switch between 4 different graphs. So how is that possible? It's actually 4 different graphs, and then I'm just choosing which one to show. So we'll just have to copy it 4 times. Also, I want to change the coloring here, just so that they fit the logos of the teams. So I just go to markers and say Adidas is yellow. I think that's the yellow I used. Coloring for Harvey's is just fine. Then we can just select the other 2 teams. Go coloring Scotiabank is red, this one. And Sonnet is green, don't have that one here. So I'll just go maybe something like this, I think. Yeah, that will have to do. And then we'll do the same down here. Instead of markers, it's obviously a line. Sonnet is this color. Scotiabank is red. And then we'll go change the game so that we have the 2 other teams. Change the coloring down here. Harvey's is fine. Adidas yellow. Just like that. Okay. So now all we have to do is we have to copy this, put it in, and then instead of using the cumulative XG value, then we go with cumulative passes, this one. Change the name to passes, and this is only completed passes. And change the calculation to maximum. Yeah. And then we'll just put in another one. Instead of XG, we are now looking at possession times. Only the maximum value. This one, possession. And then the last one. Offensive zone, possession time. Again, change it to maximum. And change the name. I don't remember what I called it. Offensive zone. Session, something like this. It doesn't really matter for now. Okay, so now we have 4 graphs, but we need to put in a button where you can switch between the graphs. So the way you can do that is that you can add bookmarks. Let's just go here to the canvas setting part because I think it's too small. Yeah, I'm using 800 pixels. So this just adds a bit of room near the bottom, so it's easier to add the bookmarks. Okay, so let's just go to View, go to Bookmarks, and then we want to add a bookmark. So this one we just want to call XG. So in this bookmark we're selecting the XG graph. Then we'll just add another one, another one, another one. This one we'll call passes. This one we'll call possession. This one we'll call offense zone possession. Okay. So it's actually really easy to do. So we'll just go to selection. And then we can hide images. We can hide things in the visualization. So we'll just go to hit on XG. And then we'll go hide this one, and this one. So now it only shows the XG graph. And then we'll go to the bookmark and say we don't want to save any of these. Display is what we're looking for. Current page, I don't think it's important, but we'll just say update. Yeah, and then we'll go to passes and hide this one, hide this one, hide this one, hide this one, so that only the passes are there. And then we'll go don't bookmark the data, because then you would also change the game selection and so on and so on and so on. We only want the display to be bookmarked. Don't know if this one is important, so we will just try and update it here. Now we'll go to possession, offensive zone, hide that one, hide that one, hide that one. Make sure not to bookmark the data and say update. And then we got the last one. Hide this one, hide this one, hide this one, hide this one. Go to remove data and click on update. Okay, so now we got the 4 bookmarks that we need. Now we just go to insert, insert button, navigator, bookmark navigator. And just like that, we have a navigator where we can choose between which graph to look at. So we'll just shut this one down for now. Shut this one down. Or actually, we want to go to view bookmarks, because you can't in the Power BI program, you can't just click on these, it won't change anything. So we just have to go to the view, and now we can choose between them. So now XG is selected, now passes selection, possession, and offensive zone possession. So this all looks correct. So now we have a slicer where we can choose between the graphs, and we have a slicer where you can choose between which shot events to show on the shot plot. And the final slicer we need to add is just a string state slicer. I'll just copy this one. And move it on top. And then instead of having shot event as we go to event data. That's correct. And select string state. So now when we select these, it will impact this one, impact this one. It won't impact this one, because this one is calculated directly in Excel, so it can't really update like that. And then if you select goals, it will only affect the shot plot, but it won't affect anything else. Okay, so that's actually what we want to do today. So we'll just finish off by putting in the background image. So like I did in the first video, I just created an image in PowerPoint, and this is what we're going for. So up here you have goals, expected goals, date slicer, game slicer, and then you have room for every team metric. So if we go to this one, you can see this is what the design looks like. So we'll just save this one, save a copy, browse, save it to the desktop, and then it's not a PowerPoint presentation format. We want to save an image, and I'm just using Power BI 3. I'll just replace this one and just the one slide. So now we can go to this one, change the canvas background, browse, go to desktop, select number 3, and remove the transparency and fit. Okay. So now everything just needs to be put in the right position. Right size, right position. So with the images here, you just need to remove the background. So you just go to General, Effects, remove the background. Same thing with all of these. You just remove the background and put them in the right place. And you can change the size and work on the design part of things. Again, these, you don't want the background, you don't want the slicer header, you want to have it a bit larger. The values, let's just go with 20 for now. This, put it in the right place. Same thing here. Values 20, no header, and no background. Make it smaller and put it in the right place. Again, here, don't want any background. Don't want any background. Don't want any background. So I don't want to play too much around with this. You obviously need to make this a bit smaller, this one a bit smaller, and just put things in the right place. And obviously you have to do it for all the graphs. So now when we change this one, you see the graph is not in the right place. They have to be right on top of each other, obviously. And they are not right now. Oh, so you see that the bookmark of the XG is actually incorrect. So if we go here, selection, select the XG, we need to remove this one, remove this one, remove this one. And now we need to, hit exit first. Try again. Remove this one, remove this one, remove this one. Go here, current page, perhaps important, I don't know. Click update. And now let's see if it's correct. Yeah, looks correct now. So this is where I will end the first video. I'll just put everything in place and then we can continue on with calculating all the team metrics. But that will be in the next video. So until then, see you.